Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 11 starts now.
We may still be above freezing now, but many of us will be waking up to temperatures in the 20s.
High-speed chase involving a stolen Jeep goes through several local communities, and the driver was not going to let a few blown tires stop her.
But we begin with companies now being given 2 months to comply to the federal government's vaccine mandate, leaving local business owners wondering if they'll still have workers.
Vaccine mandate from the Biden administration applies to businesses with 100 employees or more. Workers have to be vaccinated by January 4th or be tested weekly. Mara McDonald live in Ferndale tonight. Amara, a lot of small business owners trying to wade through this. It is not easy.
It is not easy, Devin. And first of all, let me say, we had a wonderful day here at K9 to 5 with all the dogs. But you can see the stress that owner Liz Blondie is under. She's done everything she can to incentivize her staff to get vaccinated. The vast majority of them don't want to. So what is an employer to do? The pups have been taken care of so well at K9 to 5. What started as a small operation in Detroit's Midtown has expanded to Ferndale and Commerce Township, which means her workforce is at...
Puts me at 101.
The limit at which the feds say you need to have all your workers vaccinated or they must test weekly.
Back in April, we had rolled out a vaccine incentive program where we would pay team members up to, I think, $250, all said and done with paid time off and everything, to get vaccinated.
And while Blondie herself is vaccinated, less than 30% of her workforce is.
The great workers that we have here, do we send them away because they have chosen not to get vaccinated? Are we not going to hire people?
Believe it or not, there are workforce shortages in the care of pups. Blondie's already got 20 open positions. What she's facing is no different than so many other industries across the spectrum.
The problem with this mandate, though, is that it doesn't really get to the heart of the issue, because it is causing employees to dig in further. Those vaccine reluctant and vaccine resistant employees, they have already said and spoken and said, we are going to just leave those employers.
Back here live, the Michigan Chamber of Commerce and the other chambers that have formed this Listen to Michigan business group, they are all pro-vaccine. They want you to get vaccinated. What they don't want is to have employers in the position where they're playing the part of the vaccine police. Devin, Kimberly, back to you.
Which, Mara, brings us to enforcement. There are thousands of dollars in fines for failing to comply. How's that going to work?
So that's sort of what everybody's waiting to see, how this is going to work. Theoretically, it's under OSHA, and you would have, employees of OSHA coming to your business to check and see what the records are. Nobody really knows how this is going to work. And you're right, those fines can be substantial, as in up to almost $14,000 for one violation. So everybody's sort of like, well, let's see how this all works.
So
Back to you.
All those puppies, I know you have had worse days at work than today. That's not bad, right?
It was a great day.
Good stuff.
All right, Mara, thank you. Well, it is one of the coldest nights of the season so far, but we'll be warming up soon.
Yeah, Paul is tracking changes coming for the weekend. In fact, they're going to push right into next week, Paul.
Absolutely, but right now we're not into those changes yet. You can see, look at this, we're already in the 20s in Ann Arbor Port Huron. Now again, remember, the Ann Arbor Airport has an unnaturally low temperature. The surrounding Ann Arbor area, not quite that cold, but still, it has dropped off quite a bit, and the air is calm, thank goodness. Part of the reason for the drop in temperature, you can see how things have started to clear as expected. So let's talk about our 4-zone forecast. Now, in the heart of the city here, we're talking low 30s and also near the water, but then you start getting away from the city. Look at upper 20s, Livonia over to Romulus. In our south zone, you can see that effect also. Near the water, probably around 30, 32 degrees. Then you get away from the water, it's going to be upper 20s here by the time you get into western Lenawee County. And then as we get into our west zone, you're not affected by the city or the water, so it's all upper 20s for you. And then in our north zone, we'll even have some mid to upper 20s, some 27s, maybe some 26s in there. But again, near the water, it's going to be warmer. As far as the kids at the bus stop, again, a frosty start, but then sunshine in the afternoon, 49 degrees for that afternoon bus stop. And I'll be back to talk about that wonderful weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
Forward to it, Paul. Thank you. Well, if you knew Detroit back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you knew Barbara Rose Collins. She was a community activist who ascended to several levels of political office, eventually becoming Michigan's first black woman to serve in Congress. Well, she passed away today at the age of 82. Jason Colthorpe tonight with a look back at her life and legacy.
Barbara Rose Collins' political career almost never happened. She ran for the school board in the early 70s after being encouraged by the head of her church. She graduated to the state house, then Detroit City Council in 1980, and then Congress in 1990.
That was always her dream of being a legislator for the U.S. Congress.
Collins died Thursday morning at age 82 after contracting COVID. Her son Chris spoke to her often about her legacy that is lasting.
When you're from a community, no matter how stressed it is, the situation it's going through, stay in that community and try and build it up. That is why we still live here in the house that she was born in. So this is her city council, Detroit.
Collins was a trailblazer.
Of course, her and Bill Clinton.
As the first black woman to serve in Congress from Michigan, inspiring many, especially her own family. Her grandson, Bruce Simpson, is now the ombudsman for the city of Detroit.
We're going to miss her, but she was strong for her people and always did what was necessary for her people.
She was a moderating voice. Some people didn't appreciate it. Some people appreciated it very much and love her. That, I think, is one of her biggest achievements, that she was able to not only be a politician, but also have her heart in the right place to help out the citizens of the city of Detroit.
And we're here downtown outside the Coleman Young Municipal Building, fitting because it was the former mayor who convinced her to hold off on a run for Congress in 1980 and instead focus on Detroit City Council first. Barbara Rose's fingerprints are on so many things, by the way, so many big things. Juneteenth just became a holiday, but it was her decades ago first pushing for that. And you know those expiration dates that are on all of your food items? Well, that too is because of her hard work in Congress while she was only there a short time. Got some important things done. And we mentioned she passed away from COVID-19. Her family says she was vaccinated, but she did have some underlying conditions. Well, I'm downtown tonight. Jason Colthorpe, Local 4.
Yeah, okay. Jason, thanks.
A woman leads police on a high-speed chase through several cities in a stolen Jeep.
The chase started in Warren before ending at the Detroit-Grosse Pointe Park border when the woman crashed the Jeep into a utility pole near Kercheval in Audubon. Police say the woman kept driving the last few miles on flat tires. Fortunately, nobody was hurt.
A fourth person is now charged in the ongoing corruption probe within Detroit City Hall and the police department over towing. 55-year-old Alonzo Jones faces bribery charges. He oversaw DPD's vehicle auction program from 2009 until he retired in May. Prosecutors say Jones received $3,200 in bribes from 2019 to 2021. Former City Councilman Andre Spivey and 2 other police officers are all also charged as part of Operation Northern Hook, an FBI investigation of bribery and extortion within City Hall and the city's towing operations.
An East Point High School student is arrested after police say he used Instagram to threaten to shoot up the school. Police say the student made the comment on Instagram on a post while holding a rifle magazine. Officers immediately located the student, took him into custody. Investigators say no gun was found. They believe the picture was taken a few weeks ago. He faces a felony charge of making threats of violence to a school.
DTE Energy has unveiled a $7 billion 5-year investment to cover upgrades and improvements to try to minimize power outages. Funding will allow the company to accelerate tree trimming, as it says 2/3 of outages are caused by trees damaging or falling onto power lines. DTE also plans to upgrade aging equipment. That includes rebuilding substations and continuing to install smart meters in homes. The company also talked about moving power lines underground.
We're not against undergrounding it, but I want to make sure that everybody understands the number one thing we can do is trim trees.
We are committed to building what we call a near flawless grid over the long term. And I think you'll see many of those plans directed at upgrading, automating, and modernizing that equipment.
DTE also says it's on track to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050.
Oakland County Executive Dave Coulter is asking parents to get their children vaccinated against COVID-19.
And today, the first round of kids ages 5 to 11 in Oakland County received their COVID-19 vaccines at South Oakland Health Center in Southfield. School clinics throughout Oakland County are going to start operating next Monday. That's November 8th. This was Coulter's message today.
So I'm putting out a personal plea to the parents to get your kids vaccinated. It'll keep your families safe, your children safe, your communities, your schools, our entire county and state.
We have a live blog with information on how to schedule appointments for your child. Just head to the homepage of clickondetroit.com.
All right, still ahead, a fun night out quickly goes bad.
What drivers are saying after a 40-foot tree comes crashing down on more than 24 cars.
A woman attacked inside a public restroom in downtown Plymouth. What we know about the suspect, who's now in custody.
But first, a high school teacher found dead inside a park. Her death was a mystery until police received a tip about 2 of her students. And that's next.